Hey everyone, it's Kathy. You'll be coming in here now since I've opened the door. So feel free to, as you jump on in here and get live, post a question in the Q&A there and let me know who's here and where you're coming in from. And we're going to get started in a second. And I'm going to go off video very soon, but I'm going to just get things going here. First of all, just post me a little note in the chat if you guys can hear me for sure. I want to make sure everybody can hear. These things won't be any good if you can't hear me talking. All right. Perfect. Thanks so much, Teresa. Hey, Debbie. Hello. How are you? Perfect. Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to do my number 2 test, which is, can you see the screen now? That's always the big one. You want to be able to see the presentation and the notes and the information. All right, excellent, perfect. Well, I have all my stuff here ready to go. So I am going to get us started. I'm going to just move a couple of my little things around here on my screens. I have 2 monitors going, so you always see me looking over to the right. I don't know why, I have a habit of wanting to look onto the right-hand side. So anyhow, all right, let's get this party going. Okay, folks, so welcome to the Pepper Marketing Masterclass, where I'm going to teach you the 5 elements that you want to be including in your online marketing so that you can get more clients. And I know it sounds simple saying a title like that, but there's a lot to it and behind that. And that's what I want to teach you today. I want to teach you all the behind scene pieces and what these 5 elements are so that you can learn more and make sure that what you're putting out there online is going to be effective for you. So for those of you that don't know me, just to give you a little introduction, my name is Kathy Colaiacovo, and it is Italian. For those who haven't heard that story before, my maiden name was Cook. So my signature never changed. It was always a scribble, but anyhow, my last name definitely changed, and I have to say I love it as a business owner. It's a great conversation starter when you're doing networking events and stuff. So it's really cool to have a unique name like that. And actually, it's really good for online marketing as well, because there's not too many of us Kathy Colaiacovos out there. So I am an online marketing strategist and the president of Pepper Marketing Services. And I actually started my business in 2008 as a virtual assistant. Someone thought I would be really good at it, should start a business doing that, and I did. And I did really well at it. I specialized in social media right from the get-go. Twitter seemed to come really naturally to me. I actually found my first few clients off Twitter, and I've helped people do the same, and I've gotten more over time as well. So online marketing is something that I have a really unique eye for, and it just seems to come extremely natural for me. Very creative when it comes to using the systems and learning how to figure them out as well. And my experience as a virtual assistant means as I've moved into more online strategy and training and coaching people or consulting with them, I really have the background information and understand a lot of the systems. So I can talk big picture with you, but I can also talk down and dirty details as well. I love to laugh and have a good time and have fun. Somewhere along the line, I'm sure in this next hour, something will happen and I will mess up something or whatever it may be. You'll probably find a typo in my presentation. Even though I get my proofreader to take a look at all of that, I'm really good at doing typos with my fast fingers and my brain that goes even faster. They can't keep up, and so I always have some interesting stuff happening there. I'm a mom of 3 boys, and if we count my husband Marco, it makes 4. And then I have 2 rescue dogs, Pepper and Lola. And Pepper is actually the one in my logo. We rescued her 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. She's actually from Mississippi, and we drove all the way from Nova Scotia to Maine to pick her up. I'm on the east coast of Canada, just northeast of Maine. and we did pick her up. And she's been a great addition to our family. Our older dog, Lola, tolerates her. But Pepper really was a lifesaver for my youngest. And I have to say that, you know, we had a mantra at the time: if you have a puppy to care for, you have something to live for. So she's a definite rescue dog in the way that we might have rescued her, but she did a lot more rescuing back to us. So I'll try not to get emotional talking about that, because it is a hard story. Anyhow, I want to show you today how you can get some more clients from your online marketing by implementing these 5 elements into your marketing. First, if you haven't connected with me online, though, feel free. I'm pretty much Pepper Marketing anywhere except Twitter, because they have a limit of characters, so I'm Pepper_MKTG. Definitely more active on my Facebook page and my Instagram. And if you have questions after this session and you thought about it later and you didn't think to ask it during the Q&A at the end here, feel free to post it on to me on social media. Send me an email. I want to make sure that any questions that you might have lingering, you get answered today. And so definitely feel free to reach out as well. So I'm going to give you a little roadmap for what we're going to cover today. We're going to start off with what I like to call the online marketing edge. This is some information that you really and truly need to know and understand in order to understand these elements that I'm going to be teaching you today. So understanding that edge is key to you understanding how to use those other elements. So that's going to be the first thing I share with you. Then we're going to talk about the 5 critical elements as well. So we're going to go through those elements. We're going to get to them, talk about what each one of them is and how you can use it and where you should use it and what its purpose is for in relation to the edge. The next thing we're going to talk about is something I call your secret sauce as well. So we do have some information in the handout, and I'm going to give you the link to that in a minute. There was a handout to go along with this for you to take notes if you wanted to. And there's a little exercise at the beginning. I'm going to explain to you what that is when we get to a section after element number 1, because it will make more sense to you then. But it is something that I highly recommend once we're done the session that you go and look at and do and take the time to fill out, because it's going to help you with all the other parts that I'm going to teach you here today. Then I have a special checklist for you, and this is something that, remember I said this is only for people that show up live on the call? Well, I'm going to be true to my word on that. If you weren't here live, I'm not sending this out to you afterwards. I do have a list of who's here live, so if you don't grab the checklist when I give it out to you, it's not something I'm going to send out in the email to everybody who signed up. It is really a bonus for you taking the time to be here with me today. And of course, then I also have the bonus element. We've got 5 critical elements I'm going to talk about, but there's another one that really makes it all happen and makes it work a lot more effectively. And I'm going to share that with you as well. And then I'm going to give you a very short talk about some options that I have for how you can work with me and get help putting all of this into place and working with me to get your marketing up as best you can and do it in the most effective way, in the most time efficient way. I know that's a big thing with online marketing. Most people are looking to make sure that they're saving time and money, and they don't want to be spending extra time. I've talked to people before. I remember in my virtual assistant days, I talked to one woman who spent 4 days a month, 4 days of her business every month getting her newsletter out. I said, oh my gosh, you know, a VA can typically help you in that one issue, 2 hours maybe. Now, part of it is writing, creating content time, which takes time as well, but it should never take you 4 days to do a newsletter. So I want to make sure that people aren't going to be wasting their time. And so I'm going to try to give you some extras on this, how you can make it as efficient as possible. And that's what I teach in a lot of my courses as well. Then the very last thing, I'm kind of moving around my my camera here on my screen. The very last thing is I'm going to do the draw for the prize. So I am giving away 1 free spot in my Business Blogging Made Easy training program. So it's a 1 to 6 lesson, 6 weeks of lessons on how to understand how to do blogging for your business. And you can translate that to writing content for your website too. It's actually a program I'm going to be upgrading later in April this year and adding more modules to it, more about how to take those main articles that you're going to put out in blogs or even podcast show notes. People are podcasting all the time these days, and podcast show notes pages that people put on their website are essentially blogs. So if you don't think about it in that way, it has the same kind of purpose, and it's one of those elements we're going to talk about in the Marketing Edge. And they're really critical for you as well to understand with all of that. So one of you who's here on the session today is going to win free registration to that. It's a course that I sell. It's $400, and it's a self-study training program that teaches you all the essentials from SEO and keywords, how to come up with ideas of what to write about, how to put an article together. You get to use my famous blog article template, which saves a lot of time and helps you create a lot of different pieces together. And then I go into a WordPress website and show you how to format a blog and post it on your website, in addition to showing you how to do, how you should market it online and set up your Google Analytics, so you can learn which one of these blogs and articles on your website are getting traffic and getting traction so that you can optimize them more. So one of you will win that course at the end of the session here. So definitely stick around for that draw, because we will be doing that at the end. So that's what we're going to cover today. And first, I'm going to get you started with your handout, and I'm just going to post that into the session here. I just have all my little links. My VA that normally helps me with this is just coming back from a maternity leave. So didn't really tell her and get her on here because she's just sort of easing back into things. So I just posted a link to the handout there in the action guide, so you can grab that if you haven't already. There was a couple emails that came out with that information for you, so you should have it at this point. And we'll get that, will be in an email afterwards as well if you aren't able to grab it here. So let me know if you didn't get that one. And then make sure you stick around for the end. We're going to give away the checklist and that prize. So as we get started, I always like to remind everybody, this is your time to learn. It's professional development for you. I'm not charging you for the session. So definitely, try to take the time, turn off your computers. Well, not all of your computers except the one that we're working on here so you can see me, but get your phones off, turn off your email, social media, and pay attention to what's going on here, because I'm here. You can ask me questions as we go. I like to hold them to the end, but if you really have something to ask, put it in the question panel and I'll take a look at it. And if I think it's better to help you answer it on the spot, I will definitely look at it that spot there. So get ready and sit back and get ready to learn. We are going to go through here and zoom through a bunch of information that's going to help you out. So this is a definite session that you want to be in if you have an online business, you have an online course or programs, you're selling things online, your services. Maybe you're in private practice. I know I work with a lot of dietitians. I work with a lot of virtual assistants. Everyone who's trying to get their services out there online and market it. So if you're looking to get more website traffic and build your email list, because those are some of the key elements that are going to help you go farther with your business and get more clients, this is the right spot for you, especially if you are looking to get more clients in your business. So one of the things I wanted to share with you, some people say, well, Kathy, how do you really help people do that and get more clients? I always look at clients as being, it could be more students in your program. It could be more people signing up for your services. It could be more one-on-one people. It could be buying your programs, signing up for your group programs. So I wanted to share, I gathered together some stats of some things that I helped some students in my programs last year. I run a membership program too called the Insiders Club. So I work with people, we meet 3 times a month, and it's really all about me being really a second set of eyes in your marketing strategist there as you need the help during the year. It's a monthly membership program, and so we do live reviews twice a month, which is basically a live call like this where you come to it with your questions, like what should I do for this? Is this email working? Should I have a call to action here? If I want to set up a new lead magnet, what should I do? So that's a lot of what I help about. And then we do a monthly training as well. So I also work with a select number of clients one-on-one where my team of VAs, I have 8 VAs that work with me helping support the clients. So we help them with their marketing as well. And these are some of the stats and the results that I've helped some of the people in both programs do. And so when I talk about getting more clients online, I'm talking about doing marketing so that you can make changes to what you're doing to get the traction to achieve some of the results like you see here on the screen. One of the ones I wanted to point out with, not everybody has to have a six-figure business, and not everybody has to have, a multi-figure launch type of thing when they're putting programs and courses out. Reality is, for most of us starting out, that's not going to be the case. You're going to start out small. You're going to get a couple people signing up, but you want to keep at it and going at it and learn what works and doesn't work to make that happen for your business. So one of the things I wanted to point out here is that numbers and goals will be different for everybody, okay? And so I don't want you to look at some of these or ones that you might see from other people online and think, oh, I can never do that. I'm not going to be good at this. You have to think about how it's going to help you and what you really need and what works for you. So one of the ones I wanted to point out here was the 8-person workshop. So one of the students in my program last year, it was probably about this time last year, she was struggling to fill an in-person workshop she had. It was only for 8 people. And so on one of our insiders live review calls, we talked about it. We talked about like what had she done and what was she doing to make it happen and change. And so we came up with some ideas for her to do. It involved sending out some emails, putting some more notices online, doing a bit more with the online marketing, doing some actual phone call follow-up on some things as well, because not everything has to be done online. And within 2 weeks, she went from having I think she had 3 people signed up for the workshop. She filled it within the 2 weeks. She sent out a couple emails. She posted some stuff on her social media, all from the information that I had given her. So for her, that was achieving her goal, and that's what she wanted to do. And that's the kind of things that online marketing can do if you're putting these foundational elements into what you have set up already online. So all of this is possible. You just have to make sure you're using things effectively. And the 5 elements we're going to talk about here are some of the things that make that happen. So we're going to do some of the same for you. That's what my goal here today is, to show you some of the tactics that we use to get the results like I was just showing you to make it work. And that's how we're going to talk about this. And the first thing we're really going to talk about once we start checking into these 5 critical elements first is going to be what I call that online marketing edge. And in order for you to understand and be as effective and efficient and optimal with your online marketing, you have to fully understand how SEO works in regards to your website or your blog pages, okay? This is really crucial for you to understand. When you look at website pages and blog pages or podcast show note pages, all of those are pages on your website. Now, I'm 1,000% hoping that you all have your own domain that you own, and that you're not necessarily doing like a mybusiness.blogger.com or mybusiness.wordpress.com type of website. Those ones you don't actually own. So like, for instance, mine is pepperatmarketing.com. I own the domain. I have a hosting account where the site is put up there, and then I have somebody who manages my website for me, because there's some of that that's too technical that I don't understand how to manage or keep there. So you have to understand a website page is something that you're going to have with your content online on your domain, your URL. And when you're talking about blogging in particular, or podcast show notes pages, blogs are really an ideal way for you to teach people about what you have to offer. They're an ideal way for you to teach people, your expertise, and share some of all of that as well, and make sure that you're putting out content on your website, on your blogs, or website page even, that is valuable to the readers, to your ideal client. So that's what you want to have on there. And the thing that you have to understand is that every one of these blog pages, website pages, or podcast show notes pages, every single one of them is a new piece of, filled with new piece of content, and it's on your website on a page that the search engines can index and find. So Google, Bing, Yahoo, even some of the newer ones that are out there, they are all search engines. When I talk about search engines, I really just mean Google. So when they're out there, they are really and truly sending out crawlers and bots and whatever technical terms that you want to call those, they're sending stuff out there to index new content they find online. And the reason that this happens is because people go to their search engine. They type in, how can I do this? How do I learn how to blog? How do I learn how to stop dieting? People are going out there and searching. Those search engines have to have website pages indexed in their registry that they can then say, oh, somebody's asking about this. These pages over here are what they're asking about, and they're going to connect you together. So you have to understand that's how the search engines see your website pages and blog pages. And one single blog post is a brand new page on your website. And the reason why it's so important to be blogging is because having that new content on there all the time is extremely helpful. You're just giving the search engines more content to find. When we talk about search engine optimization, a very easy way to try and understand it is that it's really just the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic to your website through organic search results. So this is not using Google ads or paid ads. Search engine optimization means optimizing what you have so that you can get more traffic to your website from organic searching, from people going, how do I find me someone who can do this, that type of thing. So you have to understand that to understand the next parts of all these elements. So does that make sense to everybody here? Just give me a little shout out in the chat. And I'm going to just explain what it means by quality of traffic. You want visitors who are interested in the products and services that you offer. Quantity of traffic is getting the right people there from the search engine results pages and making sure that you're getting more and more of that right traffic, people looking for what you have. And organic traffic is basically traffic that you're not paying for. So I've tested them out. I've done like Google ads and done them over time. I haven't spent a lot on them. It's not something that I want to do. What I do is I just make sure the content I put out there creates this big digital footprint for me that essentially leads people back to my website, and that the search engines know I'm there because I'm putting the content out there, not just on the website, but then also on the social media and connecting them all. And so that helps build your visibility as well. So you really have to understand that Google relationship, that every blog, podcast, or website page that you have, they're all considered a page on your website. The idea is to fill them with keyword-rich content that's related to the main topic of your website, okay? That gives the search engines, every time you publish a new one of those, whether it's a blog post, a show notes post page, or a website page, it gives the search engines new content to index. They match it up to what they're having people searching for online, and essentially your website gets what I call the Google love. So you really have to understand this whole relationship. It's that online marketing edge. When you start thinking about it in that way, then you can kind of do these elements a little bit easier because it makes sense about this. And one thing you have to understand, it's not just matching for searches. So they track other things too. They track when somebody does a search and comes up with a page with a bunch of results and they click on it, how long do they stay on that click? Do they immediately go back to the search page and click something else? Or did they stay on that result that they clicked on and go to another page on the site? Or did they stay on there for a long time? They're tracking all of this. And the more you can keep people on your website longer, the more they're going to love what you have, because basically that's a note to them that somebody searched for this. We gave it this page. They stayed on there a long time. That must be a good page. We'll do that again. Very simple terms, but I want you to understand how it works. And that's essentially is how it's working when you're talking about the Google relationship between your website, your blog, your podcast, show notes pages, and what's happening with Google. And this is why using this edge, it's so important that you create new content on a regular basis. And that's what we're going to talk about here, is how you can do that. And the reason that you want to be creating this, it's more than just bringing the traffic in. Search engine visibility is definitely a part of it. Credibility and authority is another part of it. You're giving people information to look at for you and know and understand, you know, what does Kathy have to offer me? You know, what does Laura have to offer me? Can I look on her website and see what she has to share? It's a way for you to really build not only the visibility of your website, but you as an expert in what you do. And it's a big piece of marketing for your business. So we're going to be using that edge knowledge to help you get more clients using these 5 critical elements. Are you guys all set to go? Does that make good sense there? Oh, I see we have one little question here. Laura's asking, does SSL impact how Google does SEO? If it's not, does it list your content? That's slightly getting a little more technical than what I can handle, Laura, but I will tell you this. I think SSL is really important. Most hosting accounts, and that's a secure socket layer for those that don't know, if you don't have it, people could be getting a message saying, wing, 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 your site is not secure, this site is not secure, do not advance, do you want to go ahead, proceed type of thing. I think the SSL is more important for that, for credibility, than worrying about it for SEO so much more than that. It is becoming more and more important, and from what I'm understanding, if you don't have it on your site, it may be that they're not going to start listing them in the search engine indexes. So if you don't have that, I highly recommend that you talk to your webmaster and ask about it. It's called SSL, and it's just basically an indicator to people visiting your site whether or not it's a good site to visit or not. And you really need it if you have payments on your site, for sure. Absolutely. So I'll just sort of leave it at that, Laura, because otherwise we're getting a little more technical than I really want to on this one. So let's talk about element number 1. This is your keywords. And this is going to be a little bit about working on your secret sauce that I gave you that exercise in your workbook that you had there. So keywords are really crucial because you need to know what they are. You want to include them in all of your content. They really have to be everywhere on your website pages, on your social media content, hashtags that you use, categories of topics that you blog about, pages, content that you have there. In the checklist that, or in the handout, I talked to you about a plugin for SEO called Yoast. Keywords are definitely important in that. So you want to make sure that you have keywords on everything that you put out there online. You don't want to go crazy with it, so you don't want to have a paragraph with 50 words and 30 of them be your keyword. It's still got to make sense. It's got to be natural, and it has to make sense to people. But the important thing is that you determine what your keywords are. For most people, you're going to find your keywords by describing your area of expertise. They're going to be part of the names of your services or your courses. So I have clients that do intuitive eating, nutrition. I know that Debbie's on here, and Debbie, oh my gosh, I know you're a dietitian. I can't remember what your specialty is, but if, say, your specialty was diabetes management or diabetes care, that's going to be some of your keywords as well. The word dietitian is going to be. The city that you're in is going to be that, especially if people come to you in person. And if they don't, if you're virtual or remote, like I am, I still put my city there because I want local people to know and find me too. There'll be words that are related to what you offer. So they may not be the main topic of what you have, but they could be some subtext of what you're looking at. And most importantly, they're going to be words that your clients use, whether they're right or wrong. And this is really important for you to understand. I work with a lot of dietitians that are anti-diet. They don't want to work with people and put them on hard diets, and they I disagree with things like keto and paleo and all of that. But guess what? Until they get a client in and educate them on that, those people are looking to lose weight. How do I lose weight? So you may have to play the game a little bit in order to get people finding you for that. But knowing your keywords is going to be really important. I like to make sure I have a list of them so that I can follow along with that, and that as I write articles or blogs or new posts on social media or website pages get created or sales pages, I make sure that I am including all of that and those keywords in what I'm doing. So I keep it in my master content planner, and I make sure that I'm using them when I create any bit of content. And the reason that you want to do that is because you're putting more of those keywords that you want to be known for, that people will be using to find you. And so that's where the right or wrong comes into play with the client's words. And that goes for jargon too. Clients may not know jargon. You'll teach it when they come to you afterwards, but it's important that you don't focus on that, but focus on the words that they would use first. So it's going to be really important that you use keywords for what you're doing. And this is where your secret sauce comes into play. So what I did in the handout that you all got is in the very first section, there's a little exercise for you to do. I don't want you to do it now because it'll take a little bit of thinking, but it is something that you can look at, fill out, think about it, write these out there. And it's really good to get down to like one word, a small phrase, and then what are the words people are thinking about when they think about your service, your products, your programs, your courses, whatever it might be that you have. Putting this together is going to be the base of what you have. And I want to encourage you, I want to help you make sure you fill this out. So if you do this and you want me to take a peek at it, feel free to go onto my Facebook page, put a post there. You can start a post yourself, and it's just facebook.com/pepperatmarketing. Put the post out there and let me know what you came up with. Tell me what your business is. Give me a link to your website, and I'll give you a little quick 2-minute review and let you know if that's what I think is a good match for you too. So especially if you're concerned that you're not sure what your keywords might be, that would be an important little exercise to do for you. So that is your assignment that I want you to do. I want you to complete the handout. It'll help you get your own list of keywords and phrases together. And then you're going to want to use that, save it somewhere so that you do use them and implement them into what you're doing. That's especially important with element number 1, keywords, knowing your keywords. Element number 2 is why titles matter, okay? When we're looking at online marketing, titles and subtitles typically come into when we're talking about your website pages or blog post pages or show notes for podcast pages. So the title is typically going to be the name of the blog, the title of the blog or the podcast post, or maybe it's going to be the title of the page of your website, on your website that you're putting up there. The subtitle is a little trickier for pages, but for blogs and podcasts, it's typically going to be the second line that you have there. So maybe I wrote a blog on, why can't I follow more people on Twitter? Okay, that's my title. The subtitle is going to be the initial sentence. It's usually a little one-liner, and you actually put it in a specific type of formatting when you're putting it on WordPress so the search engines recognize it better. It's called a H2 headline format. So your subtitle on something like that would be, are you getting stuck and not being able to follow more people on Twitter? So that's actually a blog that I wrote years ago that still gets traffic to this day. It was a problem people had, and I found that they were Googling, why can't I follow more people on Twitter? So I made a title with why can't I follow more people on Twitter? I did a little subtitle that made sense, and it got really good traffic because when people were Googling, why can't I follow more people on Twitter? The search engines were matching my blog post up as right on the top page. Not $1 towards ads, just thinking how my customers would be thinking and what I want to put out there. That's how subtitles work. They work with the search engines. They help with search engine indexing, and they're the number one thing that show up in the search engine results page. So when you're looking at that entire page of Google giving you the answers, that's what's showing up there for you to have and for that information. So having titles and subtitles is really important, but even more important is putting your keywords into both of those. So you want to have a keyword-rich title that speaks to the client and Google at the same time. So going back to my example, why can't I follow more people on Twitter? Google loved it, and it made sense to people searching for that solution. So you have to think about titles and how you can put them together that are going to be put out there in a way that it will entice people to read and click on your page in that search engine result, or to leave it. So putting out an enticing keyword-rich title is going to be really important, and so is the subtitle. It's like that next step. They're going to read the title first, then they're going to read the subtitle on the page. So it's the one that's sort of going to give them a little more of okay, is this the actual thing that I want to read to help solve my problem? So that's why it's really important that you have keywords in both. And just to give you an example, this is how they show up in an online search. So this was one on it's another blog post that I did that does really well. And it was like, how do you pick what type of Facebook group you should open? So how do you choose what type of Facebook group is something that I did. So choosing the type of Facebook group for your group's needs is the title that I actually had there. And it actually came up on the first page, and a blog similar to that by Hootsuite, which is a huge, website and everything, came below mine. And it's because the way that I wrote it made a little more sense and matches up more to how people will search online. So they're going to probably use the words, how do you choose the type of Facebook group that you want to open, that type of thing. Whereas the Hootsuite one, everything you need to know about using Facebook groups. So a lot of people, when you think about how are they going to search online, what are they probably going to type in when they have this problem? How do I choose what type of Facebook group to open versus what do I need to know about Facebook groups? So I'm always thinking like that from the client point of view, and that will help you write your titles a lot better in that way. And then the description, when you use your SEO tool, I'm not going to really get into this, but that's typically going to be these two lines that are here. If you don't put it in, it's just going to automatically show the first words that you have in that page or that post or show notes page. So knowing how to work the titles with the keywords and how Google likes them is really going to be important, because those titles are the thing that people are seeing on the search engine results page. And from yourself, like every one of you here on the call can probably think about, how do you decide what you're going to click on when you do that? You look at those first titles and the links that you see. So what you put together has to have this in the element, or it's not going to help you at all. Element number 3 is hooking them early on. So a hook, when I talk about a hook, it's usually like, you can think of it as an intro. It's usually a 1 to 3 sentence that comes after a subtitle on a blog, and it offers your reader a little bit of empathy for the problem, letting you know that you have a way to help them and get them to the dream life. So it's kind of another element that will help draw the reader in to stay on your page longer, read a little bit more, and keep on reading. And that's really important. Even if they're going to skim down on the article, that's going to keep them there a little bit more. And when we talk about the next 2 elements, those are going to be the ones that help even keep them on the page a little bit longer. Remember I said it's important that you have people stay on your page a longer time and have longer visits. The search engines are watching that. So the more you can encourage that, the better off you're going to be. And when we talk about a hook, an optimal hook will do 3 things. It will sort of acknowledge the problem that they have and let them know that you hear them, that you know what their issue is. Give them a promise that you have a way to help them by reading the article, and a little bit of an overview of what they're going to learn by reading it. So this is a sample of a hook that I had on a blog post that I wrote about having an accountability partner. So I had the title, I had the subtitle, and then I had this. Do you find yourself working alone, trying to set up goals, but never getting the results you want? If you ever wonder if having an accountability partner group can really grow your business, obviously I had a typo there. The answer is yes, definitely. Here is how it's worked for me and what it can do for you. So I acknowledge the issue that they had. I give them a promise of what I want to share with them, and an overview that I'm going to give them a bit of a solution. So do you guys see how a hook will work? Its real job is to get them to read more and more with what you have. And by doing that, they're going to stay on your page longer, on your website, blog post page, show notes page, whatever it is. And the longer they stay, the happier Google is going to be with that traffic that you got. Does that make good sense to everybody there? Whoops, I scooped ahead here. Sorry. Little mouse. I'm just going to have a little sip of water here. All right, perfect. So elements 4 and 5, I gave you a little peek here. I talked about Lola and Pepper earlier. Elements 4 and 5 are all about encouraging action. So this is really important for you to understand, that action on your website pages is something you have to make sure that you are telling people to take action. You want to have them at the ready, just like these 2 dogs here, ready to pounce. and go after what is next. And when we talk about goals of encouraging action with your online marketing, you're really looking to get people to visit more website pages, to visit more blog posts, to go to another show notes page, wherever it may be. You want them to go from the page they're on now, and you want them to go to another page on your site. That's one way of encouraging action. The other way is to convert them from being just somebody visiting your website and turn them into a lead, someone who signed up on your email list. So having that encouraging action is something you want to do as well. And these actions will happen on blog posts, they will happen on website pages, you will have them in your social media marketing, you will have them in your email marketing. Every one of you is here because I somehow put something in front of you somewhere, encourage some action for you to click and sign up for this masterclass. So somewhere along the line, I had an encouraging action for you. And this is where you want to make sure, and this is one thing that I see a lot when I do blog assessments or website assessments and reviews that is missing. You have a web page with a list of all your services and no button for anybody to click to go to the next spot and go there with you. So it's really important that you have that action for people to take. Element number 4 is what I call an internal link. So an internal link is a link that you have that's going to essentially keep people on your website by making them click and go to another spot on your website. It might be to another page on your website. It could be to another blog post. It could be to another page with your podcast on it. It could be to a page on your website with your lead magnet, your ebook, your freebie, whatever it is. Doesn't matter where it's going. The internal link's purpose and how you place it there is a whole different ballgame, but there's a purpose in how you mix it into the content that you're putting it there. But those internal links are intended to keep people on your site longer. So when we think about, they do a search, or even if they came from a link from social media, Facebook post had them come to your website to read the blog. They read the blog and they come down to the end and you've got another mention of another blog where they can learn something else. So they click on that one, go to the other page. They are now reading on that one. Now, if you're doing your job really well, if you follow along with how I teach in my Business Blogging Made Easy course, or what I teach people in my Blogging Mastermind, you will know that that next blog has to have another link in it too. They may not click and click and click and keep clicking on there, but you want to make sure that anyone that you do send them to has something relevant on it. One of the funniest things that happens in the Blogging Mastermind, which is my group, we meet every 2 weeks and we write together basically with me there to support the students as they're writing. What tends to happen is okay, I'll be back next week, but I have to update 2 more blogs because they've written one that wanted to make reference to another one, but the other one no longer had a good or didn't have a good relevant action step on it or a call to action. So they had to optimize this one first. And so it sounds like a game of just sort of fixing, but the whole point is, as you can do that, the more you can do that, the longer you're going to keep people on your website. And that's really crucial for the search engines to recognize your site more and more. There's 5 must-haves that I look at when I'm talking about giving internal links. So 1, use them and lead them to other top blogs. If you have really well-trafficked pages on your website or blog posts that get a lot of traffic, so you should be looking at your analytics to know this, you can lead them there. A lot of people, I have a lot of dietitians that I've worked with in programs and clients that talk about intuitive eating and work through intuitive eating or health at every size. So they might have a website article or a blog post called What is Intuitive Eating? I have some coaches, business coaches that work with dentists and health professionals, and they have a key blog post that basically says, how does working with a coach help your business? So those are some of their top posts. So an internal link could lead to something like that to educate somebody a little bit more on what you have. It could be a related blog too. Some people will do serial blogs, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles that are related. So they'll have a link to go from 1 to 2. Once 2 is written, they'll have a link back to 2 to 3 and 2 to 1. So you have this way for people to sort of go back and forth. When you're doing it, definitely use the title. So try not to go click here to read more. Click to read the article, What is Intuitive Eating, and use What is Intuitive Eating as that anchor text, okay? That as the title is really good, because if you have a keyword in the links, that gives you a little bit more SEO happy juice, as I call it, from the search engines too. You can have more than one as long as it's relevant. That's what's really important. And make sure not to put everything up at the top too high so that they don't actually read the content and get down to it at the bottom. So I sometimes like to throw in what I call like a pro tip, so I make it stand out a little bit. So here's a couple samples for me. I've done some as a PS, so you can see my recent article, goal setting. And so the goal setting for goal setting haters is the actual link. Check out last week's article on blogging and social media. Again, that's the title, and it goes in there. Or sometimes I'll make it stand out like a little pro tip. So when it doesn't necessarily fit in like I did with the other two, and I want to sort of make it stand out, I'll put a line above and below, a little pro tip note, and then tell people, you know, if you want to do this, here's one way that you can do it. And that just explains it a little bit more for them. So internal links are really, the purpose of them is to keep people on your website longer, to have them going longer and longer. When I look at my analytics on my website, my bounce rates are always below the norm. And part of the reason why is because I follow all of these principles, and I make sure that I am keeping people on the site as long as I can keep them on there, for sure. And just make it make sense on how you guide them. You don't want to send them from one article to another that's totally not related. So, and sometimes it might be, you know, to another page on your website too. So all of those are really key for you to make sure that you're doing what you can to keep people on the website longer. Element number 5 is what I call calls to action, CTAs, okay? A call to action is basically where you offer a reader a way to take a next step, typically with you. It's a little different than an internal link, in that an internal link might send them to get more information, but a call to action might be sign up for my ebook, reach out to me and connect to me for a consult. Click here if you want to buy the product. So they definitely have to be relevant to the content. A lot of times I'll find that this is why people in my courses are creating extra lead magnets or freebies to give away, because they need something that makes a little more sense with what they're doing with the written word. So one student, I don't know if she's here on the session today, Kelly, she's in my blogging mastermind in the Insiders Club, and she is really good at this. So she does a lot of writing and giving people like 10 or 7 steps. So often she'll make a quick PDF of that, turn it into a lead magnet and say, hey, if you want to have this, you know, list here to work with on for the next 4 weeks and chart your progress, click here and download it. And so she's getting that down to a science, really. And so having really relevant calls to action in there, and that's getting people on her email list. So calls to action can be really different. Booking a consult, maybe it's getting a coupon code for local stores, in-person ones, taking a quiz, visiting a YouTube video. Now, I will say, it should be your own, okay? And you also want to make sure that if you're sending people to a YouTube video, the description under it has ways to go back to your website. So anybody here that got my newsletter this morning, I did a video article today because I had a lot to share in the newsletter article that I wanted to teach people on. So if you go look at that and go look at the video on YouTube, you will see a description with all the resources that I mentioned in the video, links back to my site. At a very minimum, I have a little description of the video and a link to a blog post where I talked about it in the video, or a lead magnet page. So try not to send them off your site to other people's sites so much, or to a place where they will really get lost, especially in the world of social media. So you really want to make it purposeful. Connecting on social is a lesser value call to action, in my opinion, but it can be used sometimes when you don't have anything else that fits well. And even posting a comment on the blog. Blogs these days don't get as much comments as they used to, but you can definitely encourage that as well. And the calls to action are really more and more, when you look at these compared to internal links, their main purpose is list building, getting more people on your list so you have more people that you can email your regular new weekly content or bi-weekly or monthly, whatever it is. And the trick is, you know, getting them on there and building those lists of qualified prospects. And that's how you're going to lead them and turn them into paying clients and customers, is getting them through there. So as a quick recap on this, those 5 elements are knowing and understanding your keywords. And don't forget about the little exercise I gave you that you can check with me on my Facebook page later. Subtitles and titles, you have to understand those. Putting a hook at the beginning of the content that you're putting on your website, and then using internal links and calls to action in both of those. So you want to make sure that you are including those in the information that you put into that, so that you do have what you need in there for people to take that next step with you and get on your list. And I'm going to talk to you in a second here about the bonus tactic that I have to help you with your marketing. And don't forget to stick around to the end here, because I've got the extra checklist for you, and I'm giving away that course in a few minutes. Now, first thing I want to ask is, going through all this, I know it's a lot of information. Do you see that it's doable? Do you see, this is my way of saying it nicely without swearing, because my mother is my proofreader, and so she reads through my stuff. But yeah, how do you see this as doable? Like, that's my big thing. I want to make sure that you guys are able to put these 5 elements into play, because they're not really hard. The thing about them is, it's just really, sometimes it takes a little bit of guidance. When you talk about it, what you have to do isn't hard, but putting it into practice and actually making it happen. Yeah, Debbie's saying, just need to do it. Just need to do it. And oh, I'm glad, Tamara, that it makes sense to you. So that's my big thing, is it's not really rocket science, but it's really putting it into practice. But the biggest issue that people will run into is, you're going to get this information, you're going to take it all, and then you're probably going to run into what I like to call a little roadblock. And that's where I come into play and help people out with that, with the programs. I do make it look easy, Laura. Yeah, I know. But it really isn't as hard as it seems. So that's where I come into play. And I help people in 2 ways. Like, my Business Blogging Made Easy is a training program. It's really how to do it. The blogging mastermind that I have, and it's kicking off next week for our next 6-month group, and I'm just going to quickly tell you about it here. It is really where you learn to develop the skills. I always describe it to people. It sounds really interesting and funny. We come and we meet on Zoom every 2 weeks for an hour of writing. So we talk about what the issues are at the beginning. I'll help people brainstorm issues, whatever it might be. Then we basically all write. So it's really about building a habit. It's a mastermind that's about building a habit and writing regular content and getting it going. It's a 6-month program that I run. We meet every second Tuesday at 12 noon on Eastern, and we literally just come together and write. Now, I also have a private Facebook group with that. You get to have any of your blogs that you write throughout the whole program. I review them and go through them as well. And I do video reviews on them, so you get those. And then when you're done and ready to publish it, you share it to me if you want to. Not everybody does. And I'll share it to my online community and brag you up and try to get you more traffic that way as well. Kelly's been, you heard me mention Kelly earlier. She's been writing these content upgrades and turning these, 10 steps in her blog into ways for people to sign up and get on her website or her email list. So she's really rocking it. And she has been in the program. I think this term that she signed up with me is going to be going into her 3rd year. So it's really easy to do that. And one of the things that I always believe, I see Marit asking the question there, is what if you don't think you can write? I really believe that most people can. It's just learning a trick of how to take what you have in your head and put it into written word or video word or audio word. So with all of that. So just to give you a couple details on this, I do have a special offer for you guys. I'm not going to stay on this very long here, but if you want to register for the mastermind that starts next week, if you sign up by midnight tonight, I will offer you a free, I know I wrote 30 minutes here, but I'm going to give you an hour session, a strategy session with me. So that would be the day that, whatever day in the 6 months that you want to book that session, you can get that with me. And if you register by Monday at midnight, the day before we start the group, I will give you also a free blog or website setup assessment. It's really important when you're writing content on your website that you have the foundations for it in place properly. So I do a video review of your website and give you what you might have to fix to help with the SEO, with online marketing, whatever it might be on that too. So it is a great program. It's a very unique one because it's not a training so much as an experiential learning, because you'll learn by doing every time that you do it. Debbie, it is only on Tuesdays at 12 noon. If I get enough to make a second group, every second Tuesday we meet. So every second Tuesday. So it's every other week that we meet. So in the 6-month session, we meet 11 times. And there's a Facebook group to get support in all through the whole time. So basically what happens, people will go in it, they come to the session, and we write, and then they'll put their blog in for submission to me. I do a video review, they fix it all up, and then they publish it on their website. And that happens all throughout. If I get enough people registered, I can make 2 groups, Debbie, then I would look at doing it on another day. It is a session. These aren't recorded because I can't record you writing. You have to be there to write. So that's what makes it really unique as well. So yeah, so that one is for sure in there as well. And I've got somebody else asking about it. So you know what, you guys, I can look. If you're interested in a different day, definitely email me and we can look at having a different day for another group as well. So we do meet a couple times, pretty much twice a month when you look at it that way. So it really is sort of helpful to help you build that habit. That's the biggest thing I think that happens in the blogging mastermind, is building the habit. With a lot of the people, what they really like the most is the ability for me to check and review every single blog that they write. If you want to write one a week when you're in it the whole time, I will review one a week for you the whole time. So it is in there and all set up for you. So if you do want to sign up for that, definitely let me know. You can visit peppermarketing.com/blogging-mastermind. I'll give you a link to that in the follow-up email for this as well. And that's all I just wanted to mention on that. We have a group started already for these Tuesdays. I see a couple people putting in the chat and the questions that they would be interested in another day. So if you want to email me what day you would be interested in, then definitely do that. If I can make that work for a second group, I will always be open to that. So let's get back to learning, because I want to share with you the #1 tactic that you can make all of this work to get more clients. But first, I want to give you your bonus checklist that you've got for this. And what it is a 10-point blog checklist. And I'm just going to grab that for you here and put it in the notes here. And I'm going to show you what it looks like online as well. So I want you to be able to see that. So it's essentially there we go. So you want to grab that out of the chat there, everybody. What it is, I'm going to move my screen over here. It's just a quick check that helps you make sure that you've got everything in it that you can when you're looking at writing a blog or an article on your website. So it's just a quick checklist on this. It's not a full SEO blogging checklist, which I do have in the programs. Whether you're in the Blogging Mastermind or the Business Blogging Made Easy, you get access to all of that. But this one here is really just a big overview of what you want to make sure that you have in your articles as well as you're putting them out there. So that is your bonus checklist that you've got in there. And now I am going to do a draw for who's going to win the Business Blogging Made Easy course. So this is a self-study program that I have, and I am going to just go through. I've got open on my other window here, a little random.org. So I've got the number there. Sorry, I'm going through pulling this up here. So I'm going down the list, and the person 1, 2, 5. Elaine Brennan. So Elaine, if you're there, you're the name that I have drawn for my random draw here to win the Business Blogging Made Easy course. Congratulations. And what this is, like I said, it's a 6-week self-study module on how to get started blogging. It is always available with me to buy anytime. I will get your email, Elaine, and get you access to that and send you that course access so that you can get in there and get started. And I want to thank you for showing up here live and being somebody that gets to win that. So congratulations. All right, so let's get into the tactic. Oh, and I should mention too, I have it here on the slide. This course, and Elaine, you'll get the upgraded version when it comes out in, you're welcome, Elaine. She says, my goodness, what a surprise, thank you. I'm glad you're surprised. So with that, I'm actually upgrading that in April of 2020, and I'm going to turn it into a little bit more of a content marketing course. So there's going to be 4 more modules added. So Elaine, you'll actually get those modules. And anyone who's interested in buying the course from this webinar here, this masterclass that I'm doing today, you will get the full access as well. The pricing is going to go up to $697 when we change this and we add the new modules in. But anyone that has purchased that before Monday at midnight when we close the cart on it for this will also get that bonus, the extra 4 modules at no extra fee. So if you're interested in that, you can visit businessbloggingmadeeasy.com, and all the information is there on the course. Like I said, it takes you from what do I write about to getting blogs posted and published on your website and some tips on marketing them. When we upgrade it in April, it's going to give you more, like how to take the content and turn it into social media content and repurpose it into all sorts of other ways and save you time while you're doing it. So that is what Business Blogging Made Easy is all about. And now we're going to get into tactic number 6, which is really the best one you can do to make all of this work. And it is being consistent. I cannot describe to you how important the consistency is. Quantity, not so much as quality, I guess is what we're going to talk about here. So yes, I blog once a week, sometimes more. I put new content on my website once a week in that way. There's people that do podcasts and they do weekly content. That's their marketing content that they put out there as well. Once a week does not have to be what you have to aim for, okay? What you need to aim for, then you have to make sure that you are doing it regular. So if once a month is what you can handle and make doable for you, that's what's important. If you can commit to once a month or twice a month, putting out a new email to your list and doing a blog post on your website and then marketing that online, that's what's going to make all of this work. It's the consistency of that new content going out there that's critical. And I'm going to just walk you through these little quick slides here, and then we're going to get into the Q&A on how this works. So you just have to think about it in this way. So when you're looking at, how you look at this, every time you put the new content on your blog or a podcast page, you've got a new website page filled with the keyword-rich content, okay? That's the content related to the main keywords, so the search engines have something new to index, and they get that all-important nod from Google. And what happens there is they start matching it up to searches, or people start finding it online, and you get more traffic. When you get more traffic, they're going to be reading those hooks and titles and seeing what you have on there, and they're going to keep on reading. And as they do this, you're now website visitors who are going to see that you're encouraging them to take action. You're going to get them to sign up for your list or move on to the next article to read, which might have a call to action that entices them as well. Then you've led them to become a new subscriber on your email list and be connected to you online. That's your community, your people who will reach out, book a consult, attend a masterclass, buy a program, sign up for a service, buy a course. There are people who are going to pay you money for a service or program that you have that will help them. That money becomes your revenue, is more clients and more sales. And that's how you're going to get the clients out there. You want to make sure that you're putting the content out there on a regular basis with those 5 elements in it, so that you are doing what you can to take those people, add more traffic for starters, get more leads, and that's what's going to lead to the clients. But the more consistently you can do it, the better off you will be. So that is the end of my training for today. I hope that has been really helpful for you. We're getting just at the top of the hour here. I have 3 quick action steps to leave you with. 1, I've got your homework for that secret sauce, and feel free to do that and post out to me on Facebook and let me know how it went. First action step number 1 is, I know a couple of you have put notes in there that you've got, I make it sound easy. I get that, but I really want to encourage you to create new content. If you can develop a routine on this and block time in your calendar and get it posted and published online, you're going to see a change in your traffic, in your results, in your email list. You really want to get blogging. I know we've talked about different ways about this, but you have to get going, putting the content out there, and then you want to add those 5 elements in to make it as effective as possible. And then you're actually going to have to do what I like to call the one thing that Kevin Costner does not know how to do, or doesn't have to do, because he's the only person in the world who will build it and they will come. The rest of us have to market it. So we have to put our content out there and then do some added marketing to help get people into all of that. Okay? Last step is, don't let the fear stop you. I'm going to address a couple of the questions there. I can see them there right now. If you think this is hard, I'm really here to tell you it's not. I've seen great success with my people in the blogging mastermind, especially because that's such a little small community. It's live. You're there with me. You're getting the help with me every second week as we're writing it and putting it out there. Get help or get training, but make it happen, and don't let the fear of it stop you. So I'm going to address that one question that I see right here, right away. But I really encourage you to do this. You are an expert in what you do for your business. Most of you that are here on the call are probably a service-based business. You probably have a course, you're coaches, you're dietitians, you have a consulting business, you have nutrition services, you have other services that you offer. You're an expert in what you do there, totally expert in it. You've got the knowledge and the know-how to share with people how you help them. Writing content for your marketing online, in particular blogging or podcasting, is really and truly taking that content out of your head and just putting it either in video, audio, or written word in a way that people can consume it, with all these elements in to make more out of it. So don't let it stop you, because I really believe that everyone can do it. And that's one of the things that I see happen with people in the mastermind. They build that confidence level and they really get a lot more confident in what they're putting together, and then the results that they're seeing. That's always the best part of it. So we're off to Q&A time here, and I know I've got a couple I'm going to go through these because we've got a couple right here in the chat. So Laura saying, midnight, what time zone? So Laura, I usually do Pacific time zone. I'm on Atlantic. I know that's my far time zone, or Hawaii time zone, I think I usually do. So that would probably like 6 a.m. Monday, my time, okay? Or 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, my time, type of thing. So let me just look here. I've got some questions here. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna just leave this up. So if you have some questions about what the mastermind is about there. So I'm starting out with a website and I don't have a list. I'm figuring out all the steps and figure out the steps, which is the first thing that stalls you. Okay, so that's from Laura. So Laura, let me just see if you're still here. So in case I have some clarifying parts on this. Okay, you are. So you have a website, you don't have a list. What I'd like to know is, do you have a list started? Like, do you at least have a system, but maybe you just haven't got it working at all, or no? So I can see your answer coming in there. No. Okay. So what you can do in that case then is, one, at some point I would really encourage you to think about that, because honestly, email marketing is the way you make sales online typically, because you build that way of communicating with people in their inbox. I know a lot of people think that emails are really annoying and that they don't like to see them or read them, but they actually do work. So I would want to encourage you to think about getting to that point. But in the meantime, you can certainly have internal links going to other things on your website. And then your call to action can be to call you, maybe you want to give them a handout. you know, manually type of thing, but you want them to reach out to you and you want to get their name from it first. So those are a couple of the things that I would look at doing in that way. And more so just building the habit of getting the new content out there. You know, whether you have social media or not, that type of thing, but that's where you would definitely start with, is putting that out there as well. So I hope that helps, because you don't have to have a list. I would highly encourage it, but if not, just find another way for people to reach you and reach out and get that information. Oh, your audience is inside schools and with lots of filters. Okay, so who's your audience, Laura? Is it the like the people in charge at schools, or is it the teachers in schools? You do that. I'm going to go to another question. School nutrition directors. Okay. So what you may want to consider is trying to reach out to them on LinkedIn then, because you might be able to get through the filters that way, and you might be able to find their information that way as well. So sometimes it's like trying to get a workaround on how you can reach that lead that you're looking for, and having that information that you can have out there as well. All right, so I've got another question here. Hold on one second. These are zipping by because whoops, I'm scrolling on the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Okay. I never thought about a subtitle. I just jumped into the reading content. Okay, that's Amanda. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you have the subtitles there too. It's one of the most often missed items, especially on blog posts. Amanda, is skipping the subtitle, because it is really helpful with the SEO part of it as well. What if you don't like writing? I really don't like writing. What can be done with someone who isn't a writer? So Marit, that's you there. I don't know if you're still in the room or not. What I would say to you though is, do you know what you do for your business? I don't think she's still here anymore. So, but I'll leave it on the recording because this is coming through anyhow. So what I would say to you there is, it really comes down to just finding a way to take the expertise out of your head and turning it into an article. In the Business Blogging Made Easy course that I have an actual exercise where I did that live with someone on a webinar. We started with a worksheet that I have, and I had them list out certain things, and then I had an article formula turnaround, and we took the pieces from the worksheet and turned it into these sections on the next sheet, and that actually formatted into an actual blog post, like 3 things you need to know about blah, 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 blah. So I believe it can be done. It's just learning how to do it. The Mastermind doesn't do the one-to-one training on that, or the step-by-step training so much, but you will get the guidance, because we do follow the blogging article template and we follow the blogging checklist. So you will learn by experience on how to put them together. Every article that you submit to me, I will give you the feedback on, and you will know what pieces you have to put into it. And ultimately, by the end of it, most people feel very comfortable with the writing about it as well. All right. Oh, and that was Elaine. She was so happy about that one. Okay. Hold on a second here. And then I've got Trisha is asking, can you have more than one call to action in a blog post? So you can have more than one, but I would be careful how you do it. So an internal link and a call to action can both live in an article together in a blog post. An internal link might take them to read more information. The call to action might give them a resource or a freebie that's sort of an add-on to what you taught in the blog post. So what I would do with that one, Trisha, is I would say, I wouldn't mix necessarily 2 calls to action. So you don't want to have like, get this lead magnet or get this lead magnet. You want to have one that makes more sense there. So I would stick to just the one versus having that, you know, having 2 in there that might confuse people or get them a little mixed up. So I would be careful on that aspect of it. All right. And Joanne's asking, do you need a hook on everything, even a podcast show notes page? So I do believe a hook helps you. A hook, most of the time when I write a hook, it actually becomes the SEO description in my blog post as well, because that's what's typically going to show up on the it's typically what's going to show up on the search engine results page where you see the title and the little 2-line description. So to me, the hook is always something that's going to be the thing to make somebody click and read. So I do believe, Joanne, that like putting a hook on will really help get people to keep on going and read more if they're actually on the page, or if they're making that decision off a search engine page to click or not. That hook is going to be the thing that's going to help them get there as well. So I hope that makes sense too there. Okay, perfect. Can you clarify, from Lakeisha, can you clarify what you do in the blogging mastermind versus the business blogging course? Yeah, so the business blogging is a step-by-step how-to blog. The blogging mastermind is a live support group and coaching on writing and developing your skills in putting these elements basically into play with what you do. So I think I kind of said it to Mara too about the writing. You will learn how to do it a little bit but if you're looking for really step-by-step, the business blogging made easy is more what you would be looking for. But if you want to have, you know, me there around you all the time as you're writing, and you want to make sure you're building up that consistency and getting that going, then I would definitely say that the blogging mastermind would be the one that would help you do that. And there are lots of people that have taken it over the 3 years that it's been going that have not taken the course. You really learn by doing. There's definitely a lot of foundations in the course that helps you more, but the mastermind will get you what you need for that as well. Hey, Stephen came in late. Should each blog have a unique CTA related to the blog? Yes, that's definitely the basis of the calls to action. You want it related to what's going in there or somehow related. Sometimes you don't have something in that case though. I mentioned that's when Kelly sort of offers them a PDF of the tips that she had if they want to print it out. So you could end up making one in that way, but it definitely should be related. Like I would never do, and Stephen's a guitar teacher, you guys. He teaches people guitar online. DempsterGuitarStudio.com if you're ever wondering about that. But so for you, like just to give you an example, you wouldn't want to have your article about, you know, learning the basics of a guitar and then have a call to action that is talking about selling tires. Okay, like I know you're not going to do that, but you want to have a call to action ideally related to what you've written about in there, but if you can't make it fit that way, maybe it's going to fit in a broader picture type of way. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Just don't go totally off board with it. If you don't have a call to action for a lead magnet that fits exactly what you put on there, maybe you have a call to action to a service or for a consult, or, you know, that might be one of the times that you use the, what I call my blogging alternatives call to action checklist. So I have that in the course. And in that one, you know, it could be connect on social or post me a comment on social or comment below, things like that. So just make sure it's not totally foreign or it will seem odd. And if it's not, then you can make it fit in really well. So I hope that makes good sense there. All right. I don't think I see any other questions, but let me scooch back up in the question chat here. Oh, I think we're good. I think we got everybody's questions answered. Do you have any final ones before we close off, everybody? And I do want to thank you for sticking with me here. Great questions that you had. I know we're a little over time. I hope you found this really valuable for you. Definitely, like I said, I know there was a few of you that said another day might work. Email me what day it might work for you, and I'll see what I can do for sure. And yes, Tracy, if you register, yeah, I didn't change it on the screen. Thank you for bringing that up. So for those who came in a little late, I said if you register for the Blogging Mastermind by tonight at midnight, my notes here say 30 minutes, but I got really generous on the call. And so I did say a 60-minute strategy session. So, and you can do that anytime during, between now and the end of June when this group mastermind ends. And that will, yeah, and some people do it. If you want to do 2 30 minutes, Tracy, you could do that as well. Or you can do the 1 60-minute, but it's your call and what we talk about as well. Smart to use the strategy session and lay out the blogs. Yeah, just sort of getting the planning part of it together, Tracy, is a good way to do that. Yeah, for sure. I would say don't necessarily use the strategy session immediately. Like, do the first class, see what's going on there. We'll see where you're at, and then I might be able to give you some information on what, you know, if you can send me what you're looking for the strategy session, and I can help you a little bit more on what, you know, what would be more important to know at the beginning and what you're going to learn through the group as well. That way you're not, I don't want you to waste the strategy session if you're going to get something for that out of the group. We'll make sure that it's not anything you would learn directly in the group too. All right. Perfect. Well, Elaine, congratulations again on winning the Business Blogging Made Easy course. And I will email you with access to that. And those of you that are interested in the Blogging Mastermind, you can find it at pepperitmarketing.com/blogging-mastermind. I will also be sending a follow-up. There's going to be a replay of this that will be up to the end of the month, so you'll have access to that too. And I'll have the handout link in there as well. Make sure though, because only you guys here live are getting the checklist, I'm going to post that link again right now so that you get it. Hold on. And that's this one here that you can see on the screen. So I'm going to post it in there before you go off. Oh, you're welcome, Debbie. Oh, Elaine, you will be better at blogging once you do that course. Definitely, for sure. So yeah, so make sure you grab that checklist because that is not going out. It's in the chat there. It's not going out to anyone who didn't show up here. I'm sticking true to my word. If you weren't here live, you didn't get this special checklist. All right. So thank you everybody so much for attending and for being here with me. I really appreciate your time and you being part of this today. And any follow-up questions, you can email me or you can post online. And I encourage you to do that homework I gave you. Whether you decide to work with me or not and come in the Blogging Mastermind, definitely make sure that you do that little exercise I gave you on your secret sauce. Figure out what all those are and get creating that consistent content. That will help you get more clients from what you're doing from your marketing online. I promise you, you'll be able to get increased results. You'll see your traffic go up, your list building will happen, and the clients will follow with that. So best of luck with all your marketing, and stay tuned for a couple more emails tonight. Just reminders for the information that's going on here. And thanks again for being part and spending time in your day with me this afternoon. Have a fabulous day. I will see you later.